Iowa Congresswoman Ashley Hinson, thank you for joining us. So I want to read something to our viewers that you posted on X after this attack. Quote, Solomon overstayed the visa he got for the Biden administration. So what did they do? Granted him a work permit. This monster would not have been in the U.S. if the Biden administration had enforced our immigration laws. Plain and simple. How could someone like this slip through the cracks?
Yeah. Plain and simple, the Biden administration was not enforcing our immigration laws on the books, so this is totally their fault. It makes me have a lot of questions about how many more people like Mr. Solomon are in our country illegally, overstayed their visas through a weaponized asylum process. I think it gives me all the rationale I need to support Tom Homan and President Trump in whatever they need to do, whatever resources they need to be able to get all of these dangerous illegals out of our country as soon as possible.
You know, when I looked, I see your Democrat colleagues. They say the things on Twitter that they're supposed to say, but when it comes to actually doing something to prevent these attacks, to increase border security, deportations of someone who shouldn't have been here. His visa expired.
Yeah, they want to go have margaritas with these people instead of actually sending the resources to ICE and CBP, these brave men and women who are actually working to keep our country safe every single day. And we look at the efforts that ICE has made in just a few short months, right? The border security that we've been able to achieve under President Trump in just a few short months. As he said, we didn't need new laws, we just needed a new president. So I think I have a lot of questions about, you know, this man specifically. How was he able to plan this attack for a year? So we need to get those questions answered by the FBI. Are there other people that we need to be concerned about as members of Congress? What else do we need to be doing to make sure we can keep the American people safe?
You know, I'm so glad you brought up the margaritas with Kilmar Abrego Garcia. How did you feel when you saw your Democrat colleagues making trips on Memorial Day to go visit this man who they call a constituent, but he can't legally vote because he was here illegally?
Right. You know what I was doing Memorial Day? Spending time with our veterans in Iowa, back in my district, serving the people of Iowa, which is our job. It's not to go support illegal immigrants. And I think you can see a stark contrast here, right, of what Democrats in Congress are supporting versus what Republicans are trying to do. You know, we've had a lot of conversations about the one big beautiful bill and the provisions in there, not just for tax relief, but for securing the border. And I think that's kind of gotten lost in a lot of the shuffle about this big bill. But we absolutely have to keep our country safe. Paramount. That's the government's main role, right, is safety and security for the American people. So we're going to do everything we can to get those provisions signed into law.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to switch gears a little bit and talk to China. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says President Trump, possibly President Xi, will be on the phone later this week. The president accuses China of backtracking on the tentative agreement we had that paused the tariffs. I mean, I know you're from an agriculture state. I'm from an agriculture state. Agriculture is taking the brunt of China's retaliation. How are things right now shaping up, and do you think that they'll get this worked out?
Yeah, we need to get a deal done, plain and simple, and nobody better to do that than the master deal maker, President Trump, right? I think what we're seeing is the art of the deal in action. We need tough talk with China. China has been taking advantage of our farmers, our producers, our manufacturers for decades, and that has to stop. So we need fair trade deals. I think what's important here is that we do hold them accountable on the other side of that too, because, you know, we can talk tough and we can get these good deals signed into law, but China has not been following these deals. And, you know, I think that it comes down to it. We need to enforce our tariffs, our duties, because they will find every single loophole to get around them. And they have been doing that for decades.
And the number one thing that Donald Trump said he would do when he came back into office is bring common sense back. And every deal that he makes and everything that he does, it's just common sense to so many of us. How do people in Iowa feel after these first few months of this new administration?
Yeah, very happy, right? I mean, for the most part, I've been out doing some town halls, and you maybe see coverage of those. But when I'm at the grocery store, I think my true poll is like when I'm at the meat counter at the grocery store and people are coming up to me to say, hey, Ashley, we really like what's happening. We like the potential tax relief coming. Let's get that done. Hey, we love that our country is secure again, or we're working toward that, right? And so those are the kinds of like on the ground feedback that I'm getting from Iowans. And I have 22 counties, a big chunk of Iowa that I cover, and overwhelmingly people are very, very happy with President Trump. 77 million people in this country voted for this agenda that we are now working on executing, and again, look forward to getting this big, beautiful bill done by July 4th, right?
That's what we're going to do. Not long ago, Iowa was a swing state.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Well, I think it just shows if you listen to the people and you get out there and you do what people want, which is pretty simple formula. You want to protect taxpayers, you want to stand up for rural America, which is the machine for our country, and then you want to keep us safe. Like, it's pretty simple. If you can do that, which is what President Trump's doing, then guess what? The American people will vote for that.
Yep.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.